First year for you, first off season, new players, new place,
Right.
a lot of new things. To you, what do you feel like has been like the biggest adjustment, or maybe a couple of the things that have really been the biggest challenges so far?
I was gonna say that's a loaded question in terms of a couple things that are new. Anytime you go one seat over, being the final decision, of course, is a big deal. But the biggest thing for me is, being able to spend that time with my players, having them this summer, having them now during the preseason and now into the season. It's different when you're drawing up the plays and you're, writing up the practice plans and kind of foreshadowing thing for months to come. That's probably the biggest difference. The recruiting and everything, I'm going to always have my hands in that, but being the final decision maker and being the one that's coming up with the practice plans and the schemes and things of that nature probably is the biggest changes.
What word would you use to define this summer for you, the team, creating cohesion, chemistry,
Hmm.
whatever you'd like to say? How would you define how that's gone?
So my main thing from them is I wanted them to go back to having fun. At the end of the day, we started playing ball because we loved the game and we enjoyed it. And in talking to a lot of them, they haven't had a lot of fun, the last few years. And some of the freshmen, they just want to have a great time, right? It's their first time, and so I wanted them to get back to doing it for the reasons that they started to play. So the first week of workouts, we had Spirit Week, just to kind of bring back a little fun. We're gonna have us a Halloween party at the end of the month, and I wanted them to get back to their roots, and we did a lot of competing against each other, of course, learning a lot of new things. But if I had to pick one word to define this group, it would be energetic. As you can probably hear in the background, I tell people they need to come see us play, because even on TV, you can't feel the energy that you feel when you're in watching us practice and watching us play games. And I think that's going to take us a long way.
This team looks a lot different this year. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the things everybody's going to pick up on.
Right.
There's 6 players that have played less than 4 college basketball games in their lives. Tell me what success looks like.
Thanks for reminding me of that. For me, success looks like us getting 1% better every single day. And I tell them that they're going to be judged on a few things. Did they compete every single game? Did we defend and did we rebound? Energy is a non-negotiable in any practice in any game for us, and so those are the things that I'm going to judge them on, because it don't matter how talented you are. Those are 3 things that you can do every single game. And they're going to pick us last in the conference, and they're going to say that we're not going to do X, Y, and Z, and only we believe in the locker room and know who we are and what we have. Last year we had a lot of talent, we just had a lot of injuries. We've got those players back healthy, and our support staff has done a great job. They've done a great job. Now we have to get out there and we got to produce, and we've got to work on getting 1% better every single day. And to me, if we do that, y'all hear that energetic group, there we go. But if we do those things, it's going to be a success, because I believe that the byproduct will be wins.
Evan Miller's your only player who's been here all 4 years. She's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Different coaches, COVID. What type of experience and leadership does she bring to the locker room with a team, especially like this, so young?
Yeah, with Ev, she's been a role player pretty much her whole career. And, I'm telling her, like, look, we need you to be more, because you can be more. I wouldn't tell you that you can do X, Y, and Z if I didn't believe that you could. And so she's part of our leadership council that we have. It's 4 of our players of our 11 that I'm working with specifically to really teach them how to lead on the court. It's not all about the points. It's not about all of the rebounds, but it's the things and the words that are being said in the locker room. It's the words that are being said on the court when the coaches are around and when they're not around. And that's an area that Evan, she leads by example. Every single day, I know what you're going to get from her. And I tell my players that I definitely have favorites. Coaches that tell you that they don't have favorites, they're not telling you the truth. And I tell them, you want me to tell you who my favorites are? Who, coach? The ones that do exactly what I tell them to do. Doesn't have to do with points, rebounds. If you're supposed to be a screener, you need to be the best screener. And I need to know that I can count on you, because you can count on me to do what I said I was going to do. Now I need to be able to count on you. And they're like, Coach, I could be your favorite. Great. Everybody could be my favorite. You don't do what I ask you to do, you're not going to be my favorite. It's as simple as that.
Bringing up the leadership council again, talking to some of the girls, the changes from previous regime to
Hmm.
this regime, the Nicole Woods effect of team meetings, and you're talking about the fun and the parties, trying to you know mesh all of that with competitive basketball.
Right.
What would you define the Nicole Woods effect? How you kind of approach your coaching, leadership, all those kinds of
Well, I think I said this in my press conference. Relationships are my superpower. And just because I move one seat over does not mean that I'm not going to do what got me here. And so I spend a lot of time with my players and my staff, to really get to know them as people. Because I feel like when people are happy in their personal life, that it usually translates into their professional lives as well, which is what they are. And so I spend a lot of time with them to really see what makes them tick and to be able to help them get where they want to go. And when people, we say as coaches, players, don't care how much you know until they know that you care. And that's been my biggest thing with them during this time, and they've responded. They've responded. If I had to pick a first group to have as my first team, I wouldn't have picked anybody different than this group. They have made this a piece of cake in terms of, the personnel. They've done everything that I've asked them to do. They work hard, they compete, and they get 1% better. And so I couldn't be happier.
do you feel like you've ever been in a coaching situation where you've had seven new players come to the program?
Well, actually, I have. I'm trying to remember exactly how many it was, but we had three freshmen at Charlotte. We had three transfers, and then we had two players that sat out for COVID. So we had eight new players in our championship year at Charlotte. Was at 21-22, and it was hard. It was hard because you can imagine you got some grad transfers, so you got some older kids, and then you got younger ones, and then you got ones that have been there. It's difficult, meshing all the different personalities and really figuring out, what makes them tick and what, groups work together. But, I do have a little bit of experience of that recently. It is a lot, but they make it easy because, see, they spend a lot of time together off the court. And it shows when they get on the court because any of them can say something to one another and it's not taken personal. They take it as constructive criticism and then they go and go out there and execute. So I like to think I have a little bit of experience with that. Let's see if we have the same type of result, conference champions. That team. Look, no pressure.
You only have 11 players on the roster. Does that have any impact? Just having a smaller team. I mean, I'm sure it makes it
Hmm.
a little closer knit. But are there any negative side effects to that?
Well, you say that we only have 11. I say we have 11 because if I'm them, I'm happy as a lark because now I know I get an opportunity to play. Because on most teams, 12 through 15 don't play on most teams. But teams can play 8 to 10 players. That's pretty much the whole roster. And so I think it has a different type of buy-in because everybody's on the even playing field. I'm not going to just play somebody because they're a senior, right? And I'm not going to play you because you're a junior. You're going to play and get playing time based off of your efforts that you put in every single day. And so everybody knows that it's a blank slate and everybody's hungry to play. The mantra for our program is rising above, and they chose that, and they want to rise above everything that has been attached to our program in the past, and they want to then basically create their own path for the future for Wilmington women's basketball. And so I'm just trying not to get in their way too much. I'm gonna try to give them the canvas to be able to get out there and make a beautiful masterpiece.
I know we haven't played any games yet, but I get the feeling that the chemistry from talking to some of the players, the spirit of the team isn't really going to be a problem this year. What do you think is your biggest challenge on the court?
Well, is never a good feeling as the head coach when you don't have a traditional, true point guard on your team. And we have been working with a few players to kind of rectify that. But just in the back of your head, it's like, man, we don't have a point guard that has any experience out here. But the ones that have we've put in that space, Mary Ferrito has done a great job for us, and she's worked extra to be able to be our point guard this year. And so I know she's one right off that we're expecting big things from, and she's again doing everything we ask her to do.
Yeah, she was the transfer in from Wisconsin. Tell
Correct.
me what you were telling to her to get her to come here.
You know, I won't keep you here all day. It's a long story, but let's just say we have a mutual friend that emailed me the day before my email was set to end at UNC Charlotte about Mary. And he said, listen, I think this young lady could be great for you. She wants to do marine biology, which, you know, we're known for here at UNCW. And it just started from there. And I knew right away after one conversation with Mary that I wanted somebody like her on my team. Forget the basketball, her as a person. And you know, those are the type of people that we're going to bring into our program. And she's the first piece. You know, I only brought one transfer in. I could have brought in others, but they didn't really fit who we were, you know, and the team that I wanted to have and the people that I wanted to have within that team. And so Mary's the first stop, the first building block, and we're going to keep going from there.
A superpower coming in handy again.
Superpower coming in handy. That's a long story. I'm telling you.
You know, we talked about so many new things, but one thing that is a familiar face around here, Coach Lee.
Yes.
Coming back here. Talk as much as you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
Talk about the process of reaching out to her, hiring her, and having her back here.
Well, I have to tell this story because this is a good story. So Cherie Lee, my grandfather married her parents. So we probably were in church together at the same time and didn't even know it back in the day. But I've known Cherie for a long time, and I knew we actually talked earlier in the year when she was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. She asked for some tips for her speech, not knowing, you know, some months later that I would be hiring her here. But I wanted somebody that wanted this program to be great as much as I did, and somebody that would exude that, somebody that was a top tier person, that was extremely intelligent. Everybody knows she went into the Hall of Fame, but a lot of people don't know that she was the Scholar Athlete of the Year for the conference her senior year. And so, you know, she was the epitome of what I wanted a UNCW women's basketball player to look like. So I went home for Mother's Day to see my grandmother, and she was there to see her mother. We met at the Biscuitville. And on Mother's Day, we went ahead and got that thing situated, you know. She was ready to come back home, and I told her, I'll help you do whatever you want. She wants to be a head coach, which is why I named her my associate head coach. And she's been my right hand and has been amazing from day one.
That's it for me, Coach.
That's it.
You wanted to add something you thought was important to mention about this upcoming season?
Well, you know, everybody talks about the energy, you know, within the team, and you know, you can see that. But again, I feel like people need to come and see. You know, one of my biggest things for this year is not only do I want them to have fun, I want people to come and see and feel that energy for themselves, because they deserve to play in front of people. And we're going to give you something worth looking at. So you come and you be the judge as to whether you can feel the change in our program or not.
Have you heard of the tomorrow game, I'm sure?
Oh, yes. Seahawk tomorrow. I'm super excited. November 16th here versus Western Carolina. We'll have a lot of the local schools here, and it's going to be packed. And it's one of my favorite games of the year.
It's a different kind of energy.
I can't. We just have to teach them which team to cheer for.
Yes.
That's what I need to make sure of, because I've been in some games that they just cheer for everybody. No. We're cheering for the Hawks.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
UNCW basketball tickets on sale now. Led by Coach Nicole and the top 4 scorers from last year, men's basketball is looking to make another postseason push. Nicole Woods enters her first season on the sidelines and looks to bring energy and excitement to the women's program. Both teams welcome non-conference opponents and a full CAA slate to Trask Coliseum, including conference newcomer Campbell. For tickets, call 910-962-3233. Order online at uncwsports.com/buy tickets.